Here is one thing you should know before we begin. I share real stories about real people. Stories about graft, chaos, bad decisions, and the moments that somehow turn into memories you never forget. If you have ever chased something small that felt massive at the time, this one is for you. It was the last working Friday before Christmas, and England was frozen solid. The kind of cold where your breath hurts your face and your hands stop working 5 minutes into the day. Ben the postman was out in his usual uniform, which meant shorts, battered trainers, and a red Royal Mail jacket, doing absolutely nothing against the wind. Every letter felt heavier than the last. Every step crunched. Every old lady told him he was mad for wearing shorts again. But Ben had a mission. Smith's toy store closed at 6, and there was one thing left on his Christmas list. A single box of Pokémon cards, not for resale, not for profit, pure nostalgia, a bit of childhood joy before the year ended. By 5:30 he was sprinting the final street, sack half empty, legs numb, sweat freezing to his skin. He burst into Smith's with 2 minutes to spare, only to be met by a teenage lad behind the till shaking his head. "Gone, mate, last one sold 10 minutes ago." Ben stood there deflated, red-faced, breathing like he'd just run a marathon. Then the lad added, "We do have one reserved, Rotherham branch, pick up before close." Ben checked the time, 15 minutes. "Impossible." He rang Ricky. Ricky answered, already laughing. "You're joking. It's freezing and you want to drive to Rotherham for Pokémon cards." Ben said one sentence, "Last one." That was enough. They flew out of the car park like they were in a low-budget action film. Heater blasting, windows fogged, Ricky driving like the road owed him money. Ben in the passenger seat, refreshing Google Maps like it might change its mind. They skidded into Rotherham with 3 minutes to spare, ran across the car park slipping on ice, burst through the doors breathless and red-faced. The box was there. The lad behind the counter smiled and said, "You Ben, yeah." Ben nodded. Then came the twist. The lad leaned in and said, "Funny thing is, the bloke who reserved it rang earlier and said he couldn't make it. Told us to give it to the postman in shorts if he turned up." Ben froze. The name on the receipt was the same name as the old bloke on his route, who every morning handed him a biscuit and said, "Keep grafting, lad." Ben walked out, holding the box like it was gold. On the drive home, Ricky said, "You realize that whole thing was ridiculous." Ben nodded and smiled. Because sometimes the universe doesn't reward the sensible choice. Sometimes it rewards the mad sprint, the freezing legs, the extra effort at the end of a long year. And that is how a box of Pokémon cards turned into the best Friday of the year. If you enjoyed this story and you're still grafting while everyone else is clocking off, remember this: the wins don't always look important, they just feel important when you earn them. Stay moving, stay ridiculous, and never underestimate what one more push can bring.